up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And we're coming at you with another video today where we're going to be doing the Carolina Panthers Armchair General Manager. This is where T-Bone over here becomes the general manager of the Carolina Panthers for the day from his comfy little armchair where he doesn't actually have to try to make all of this happen. This is just a fun little exercise we're doing to show how we would manage the Panthers, what the ideal situation would be given the resources that we have. It's a fun little exercise for us to do, I think. And so with that being said, I'm going to toss it over to you, T-Bone. What do you got for us today?
Thank you so much, Vegas. And yeah, folks, this was kind of difficult. I had to ask Vegas for a little bit of help on sort of just a couple of little things because, man, Panthers got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of problems we got to deal with, a lot of gaps. So I needed a couple. I needed a couple of ears to bend, but I think I was able to come up with something palpable for next season with Coach Canales, and hopefully make some type of winning roster. Now we did have to go over the cap, but I think we have to do. Sometimes we have to do crappy-ish things now so that we can do better later. So we kind of have to be in competition so that later, when we're actually really good, we don't have to worry as much. So let's start off with the free agency signings. For third string quarterback, we got Trevor Siemian. We had released our other guy, and he just, he didn't do much. He was behind Andy Dalton.
Well,
I think Siemian,
a third string doesn't exactly do much.
No, exactly. So you got Siemian. Next up, Van Jefferson for wide receiver. I actually think that he is now. His production dropped off last couple of years, but 2021, the year Cooper Kupp won Triple Crown, he had solid production as the second and third receiver. So I think he can. I think he can add a lot of depth. Tight end Noah Fant, and I think we can get him for cheap. I'm high on Noah Fant. I think he was very good in Denver, and I think the only reason that he wasn't performing as well in the Seahawks is because of how busted their offense was on so many different cylinders, running and receiving. So he didn't get all the love that I think he could. So I think he would be a great starter. And then we got a backup center in John Feliciano, and backup offensive tackle in Jermaine Illuminor. And sorry, I had to read the name a little bit.
Pronunciations are weird. We get it.
Yeah, and sometimes we had to reach a little bit to find some more expensive guys and find some cheap guys because we kind of had to balance some of it. So defensive end, we got someone good. In my opinion, I think. Now this is a little bit unrealistic, but if we can get Jadeveon Clowney in defensive end, that'd be awesome. So we've got Jadeveon Clowney. Not that the Ravens will let him go, but one can hope. Other than that, we got Shaq Lawson as the other defensive end free agency signing. Outside linebacker, we were able to. We think Eric Wilson is pretty fair. Inner linebacker, Devin Bush. And yeah. So moving on to re-signings. Laviska Shenault, I think his running and rushing ability is pretty spectacular when he plays. And I think together with him, Van Jefferson, Mingo, Phelan, that can actually kind of make a solid core. Raheem Blackshear, his returning ability and his rushing ability, I think makes him good as a really solid backup behind Hubbard and Sanders. And we were able to get re-signing Gross Matos because some of the defense, I think some of it, we were solid and we just needed, a little bit more help on the offense. to sort of give them breaks. So I like Gross Matos. Same with Camo Gruger Hill. I think he's a solid linebacker. Frankie Louvu, a must. He was partially the reason that we won against the Falcons, and funny enough, actually Falcons and Texans. So I think he's a very solid air linebacker, and he is progressing every year. So I think he's a pretty good sign up. Cornerbacks, we were really kind of lacking in that department. With because whether we could go to free agency or resign. If healthy, I think it is good to have Troy Hill, Shaq Griffin, and C.J. Henderson. I think that is a solid group with J.C. Horn at the helm. I think that can be good if everyone's healthy. Because C.J. Henderson had some work as a starter last year based on injuries, and it wasn't the best. But if that is how it is with him as the starter, if we can have the actual starter stay healthy, it's good stuff. Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin's snap percentage has dropped over the past few years. I think it went from like 75 to 50 to 25, but he can be anywhere. That's the thing. He can be. I think he's been put at linebacker. He's just athletically so gifted that I think if we really just give him a shot, it's good because he has good stats when he plays. Now, moving on to
I will interrupt you for just a quick moment. We also have J.J. Jensen, who I did make a mistake with in the graphic. He should be green, and J.J. Jensen would be signed to another year. That is my bad, T-Bone.
No. That's all right.
Just imagine J.J. Jensen is green.
And I mean, really, he's such a Panther. I mean, I already thought he was there, but evidently it was a 1-year deal we signed him to. We had the option to go for other long snappers that are younger, but I don't know. I think that I like him. I do, and that's biased, but I do. I like him. He does good. He does good long snapper work. Heading into the draft, actually, real quick before that, we got one trade on the docket, and that is trading away cornerback Dante Jackson for the Arizona Cardinals' fourth pick, 101 or 105th overall, fourth round pick, 105th overall pick. My fault. Stumbled over myself, but kind of like what Dante Jackson does, which is why we're trading him. He's fast, but he gets burnt. So, fourth round pick, 105th overall pick from the Cardinals. Now, starting off with the draft, we are going to take Peyton Wilson with the 33rd overall pick. We are not trading back into the first round. And I was a little bit of a critique of Peyton Wilson, but looking at the draft and looking at his measurables, I think the Frankie Louvu mix with him would be great. Third rounder, we're taking wide receiver Jermaine Burton. So we still have Thielen as wide receiver 1, but it is much more of a 1A, 1B type situation, and Thielen can still get some type of relief. Going into the fourth round, with the Carolina Panthers pick, we are taking cornerback Kyrie Jackson. Moving on to the Arizona Cardinals, fourth round pick, we are taking defensive end Brennan Jackson. And for our first fifth rounder, so we have two, we are taking Walter Roos with pick 141. And with our second fifth rounder, we are taking safety Jalen Simpson at pick 165. Now with our sixth rounder, we are taking defensive tackle McKinley Jackson. And that is the wrap up for our draft. We kind of, overall with this, we kind of fill a little bit of holes. We definitely we hit some dead cap, and it's going to be kind of sucky for some of it, but it kind of has to be done. There's so many problems with the Panthers that we kind of have to work where we can. So I mean, honestly, some of these guys are re-signing that, some of you Panthers fans may not agree with. But honestly, with the change in management and personnel, the front office and coaching staff, I really think this is a team that can get some work done. So some familiar faces, some new faces. I genuinely though, if we can get this team out or something similar, we can do some damage. We can do some stuff. So that's kind of just sort of my thoughts on it. Here's kind of just a sort of little exercise I did. Vegas, you got any thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, the Panthers are definitely put in a really, really difficult situation. Very little cap to work with, and you can see with this, we ended up going $16 million over the cap, and quite frankly, in order to be able to field a relatively competitive team, Carolina has to go over the cap. I think that's just the case. Now, obviously, you can see not a lot changed on the offense. The defense had many more roster holes that needed to be filled in terms of like spots, contract ending, this, that, the other. You can see had to do a lot of re-signings, a lot of free agents, and a lot of draft picks dedicated just to filling all of the roster spots that are now empty on the defensive side of the ball. The offense had less empty roster spots, but you could also argue the offense is what needs more new players, needs more tension. And you can see the defense, we re-signed a lot of guys. Gross Matos, Kruger Hill, Luvu, Henderson, Griffin, Hill, Chin. And the offense, you only re-signed Chenault and Blackshear. Every other change is a new face, but not many of them are really impact players outside of Noah Fant. And there's definitely problems with the Carolina offensive squad that we just weren't able to realistically address, because at the end of the day, we were limited with the resources because the Carolina Panthers have been so mismanaged over the last few years and had so many roster spots that needed to be filled on the defensive side of the ball that we just couldn't do what we wanted with the offense, other than try to help the depth a little bit. We definitely need the wide receiver room with, Jermaine Burton, and, maybe he doesn't fall that far. It'll be interesting to see. It's always tough with that part of the draft. But, and then you got Van Jefferson, two new faces we think will be good for the overall depth of the wide receiver room. Obviously, losing DJ Chark is tough, but, not sure if we didn't think that re-signing him was the best decision for Carolina. We did not think the cost would be worth the production we felt we would get from him. Noah Fant is the big thing for us again, tight end. I think he'll be a solid player if Carolina's able to get him. And I think Carolina getting him is realistic. John Feliciano, Jermaine, Eleanor, really just depth pieces at the end of the day. We really wish we could have done more with the offense. But I also think we're banking on, to a degree, part of the reason the Panthers were so terrible across the board, especially on the offense, was bad coaching. Because Frank Reich, quite frankly, did not do a good job by any stretch of the imagination. Guys who didn't play well last year, like Ika Makwanu, we know are far more capable. And the other thing, too, is the offensive line had some massive injury problems last year, and that left Bryce in rough shape. If the offensive line is healthier, I think the team will be better, and I definitely expect Canales to do a better job coaching this team and helping them reach their potential. So, couldn't change the offense as much as we wanted, but we are banking on the coaching being able to fill in the gaps. I don't think this is a team that's, winning the division. Especially with, Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay re-signs Baker Mayfield, which I think they should, and I think they will, then it's their division to lose for the foreseeable future, even if Atlanta ends up with a guy like Kirk Cousins. So, and the strength of this Panthers team for a long time has been its defense. And that's not going to change. when we brought back the pieces that we felt would help and then really spend a lot of time bolstering it. I think Peyton Wilson will be the next Luke Kuechly, and you kind of saw Luke Kuechly, as of today, the day we're recording this, talk about how much he liked Peyton Wilson and that he thinks Carolina should spend that second-round pick, and we agree with him on that respect. Now, I'd be a little sad if New England missed out on him as a New England fan, because I really and truly do like Peyton Wilson a lot. But if he's there, I think you have to take him if you're Carolina. I think the opportunity is, too big not to take him. So, really and truly, next year, Carolina will have a solid defense. The other thing, too, the defense played admirably despite many injury issues. If this defense is able to stay relatively healthy, they'll be easily more effective than they were last year, and they were already pretty solid last year. I think also, again, we've done enough to try to improve the offense, plus the coaching. I think you're able to add at least 4 wins just through this. Obviously, Carolina has a lot of work to do, and it's going to take a pretty substantial amount of time, especially with the overall lack of cap space that they have. They just kind of have to wait out some of those contracts and then, deal with the hits that come in the future of being over the cap right now. But I would rather be over the cap right now and take those hits in the future in order to be able to field a team that's going to be able to compete on a week-in, week-out basis. You really and truly don't have a choice. You don't want Bryce getting killed again. You don't want him. You don't want this team to field a defense that can't back him up. That's just the truth. It's a tough situation for Carolina. They have really screwed themselves over, and they're going to have to really, really work to try to get themselves back on track, and we think this would be a pretty solid step 1. T-Bone, throwing this one back to you.
Yeah, I mean, not much more to say, really. I know some people might not be pleased with the fact that, we're going over the cap, but like you said, it really, in order for Bryce to continue to develop and further get better, you got to make some hard choices. And this is one of them. And the whole thing is, you got to focus on Bryce's development. Because when he develops, he'll be, and he's developing right now. As he's developing, he's going to be better and better and better. And that's just a fact. So that really, that's it for me. Getting all these guys fully healthy, this is a pretty solid team. This is not the best team, understandable, of course, but it is a solid team put together.
Yeah, it. Not a division winner. You're not gonna go from worst team in the NFL to playoffs that quickly, unless you're the Houston Texans. But they also had a lot more going for them than Carolina did. It's tough. Winning in the NFL is very, very hard. I would argue the NFL is the hardest sport to win in. It is very, very hard. And it takes many, many years just for teams to put together a team that might make it happen once. Many teams haven't done it at all. Many teams haven't even made it all the way. Haven't even had the opportunity. That's how hard it is to win in this league. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And a team that's in this level of crises isn't going to turn it around right away. Rome wasn't built in a day. And is really and truly, as long as David Tepper steps back and lets his guys do their thing and shows a little bit of patience with them, because it's going to be tough. It's a tough situation, largely created by David Tepper's incompetence. But if he steps back and lets his guys do their thing, I think y'all are in good hands for the future. T-Bone, any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
No, not really. I'm trying to think of some, but no. Kind of said them all.
Alrighty then we're going to wrap things up here. Please be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. We would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we will see you all in the next video.